Hey everybody, it's Tracy again. And a big thing that I see with Metaverse projects is the incorporation of gaming elements into the Metaverse. And as a general postulate, just because you're gaming in the Metaverse doesn't mean you're exempt from gaming and gambling regulation, right? And that analysis always starts with game of skill versus game of chance, right? Game of chance is almost always regulated, right? Which, would be like machines, table games, general things you would find in a casino. Game of skill is also tends to be the opposite and not regulated. Like the daily fantasy sites sort of operate under that game of skill, right? And there's like this gray area for like poker and other things. But generally speaking, games of skill aren't regulated, as are gaming, where there's no consideration, right? So, while the general rule would be yes, you need some kind of license to operate like a casino within the context of your metaverse, right? You can look at it differently in terms of how you're paying out, right? Is that consideration? Like, if you're playing for like token or certain privileges, like, is that consideration? And that's really like where the analysis kind of falls, right? For a lot of these that I see. But if it's straight gaming where you're receiving like fiat or like Bitcoin, then I think you need a license of some kind. And it really can be difficult because the metaverse is accessible from wherever, and it's like you can't necessarily allow people in the United States to operate and gamble in your metaverse without having the appropriate license, which doesn't exist in the majority of the states, right? So you look offshore and you look at Curacao, Isle of Man, Albany, Guernsey, Costa Rica, all these places I've talked about before, and that would kind of cover the rest of the world, but it makes it really tricky within the United States. So, when I'm like developing these or I'm looking at these or people come to me for guidance, what I'm really trying to do is figure out where the consideration lies and what that analysis is, right? Is there true consideration? Because again, if there's no consideration, then there's no licensure requirements. So it's an interesting postulate, but like you really have to map it out and you really have to decide from like a high level, game of skill versus game of chance, and what are they playing for? What do the users get if they win, right? Because if it's like fiat or like Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything like that, it's definitely game of chance. It's definitely regulated, right? And like, how do you geofence off players, especially in the United States, right? Even if you get a license somewhere else. So it's a unique scenario, but I see more and more people wanting to integrate that, and integration, like, I get it. It makes a lot of sense because it's an attractive thing to have within the context of like the metaverse. But you start tripping over these lines of gaming regulation, sweepstakes regulation, right? Everything, and so it's unique, and like I don't have much of an answer, right? When people ask me, because it's really just a case by case analysis. So if you have that case and you wanted to discuss, definitely hit me up, Adam at Tracy, Tracy.io. Happy to provide you with my guidance and see where we can head from there. But as far as metaverse gaming, I think it's where a lot of these things are going. But just because you're in the metaverse doesn't mean you're immune from the real world and licensing requirements in the real world. So that's my take. Definitely hit me up. Happy to talk to you at any time, obviously. And this is Tracy signing off, and I will talk to you next time.